What's up, Warriors of Jigoku? So I decided to do one of the two, not scripted, but one of the two like long-term planned videos that I had to do. So whenever I saw this tier list, I was like, I'm gonna do a video on this and explain to all of you why I have characters up at some points, why I have some down below, and all that jazz. So we're gonna go through the entire roster. I'm gonna probably not go through too many in depth. I'm gonna just mention how I find them as a character for one. I'm going to find them how I find them as relevant, if that comes to it, and how fun they are in any of the Dynasty Warriors. So if they're from like the second game or something like that, then I'm going to mention them. It's not going to be just Dynasty Warriors 9 because it's kind of difficult to do how fun they are, because then you could say like, oh, well, this person is too and this person is, because they all have the same weapon. So we're not going to go by that. We're just going to go by how they are throughout the entire franchise. So I think that's the best way to do it. So without further ado, I guess it's time to hop in. And like I said, this is just an opinion. This is not the word of God. This isn't factual information. This is just my favorites on a tier list. That's it. So don't get salty if your favorite character ends up being like at the bottom or not as high as you want them to be, all right? So let's get in here. So I guess the first on the list is Zhong He. So personally, I never really enjoyed playing too much of Zhong He, but I always did like how his character, in my opinion, is probably the most like unique out of all of them, and I've really enjoyed him. So I'm gonna probably at least put him at like, simply because of that. So, like I said, there's going to be moments where I don't mention relevancy and all that, just how my personal opinion on it all. And now we have Zheng Liao. So Zheng Liao, throughout the entire series, he's actually been one of the ones I usually main the most. Until he got the twin axes, I kind of just stopped playing with him altogether. But then I ended up playing a little bit more of him in Dynasty Warriors 9. I love the man who is always trying to better himself, always trying to find tough opponents, but is an honorable man nonetheless. So I actually got to put him right above Zheng He and put him in I Love. Honestly, with Yue Jin, I haven't really seen, like, I really do like Yue Jin's character. I find him extremely fun, especially now that he got his DLC weapon in Dynasty Warriors 9. He's been fun. Like, I always found the man to be fun, aside when he had those horrible twin rods, but the DLC saved him, and I really love his, like, modest but very honorable character, so I actually have to put him up above, along with Zheng Liao. Now we have Peng De. So, I mean, I was never really a huge fan of this character, and I can't really remember too much in depth. Like, I remember, like, him being, like, really, like, a big person during the Fawn Castle thing, where he would, like, I think carry, like, a coffin for himself or something like that, to show that, like, he wasn't a fear of death or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, so I don't know all the facts, but I was never really a huge fan of the character as a whole, so I'm going to just put him under I tolerate. But I do like him. So next is Xu Huang. Xu Huang, I never really played as him. I never really got into playing as him at all through any of the games. But I do have to say, just like Zheng Liao, he is a man who really tries to better himself. And even on the battlefield, he's always looking to try to like fight those tough opponents and everything. And like I said, he is an incredibly honorable dude. So I'm going to put him under the I like, mostly because, like I said, I haven't played with him at all. And now there's Jun Yu. So Jun Yu, I like him, but I never really ended up finding him super fun with either the rod in Dynasty Warriors 8 or the throwing knives. And he just seems like really one of those really quiet but extremely intelligent kind of strategists. So honestly, I'm not a huge fan of him, honestly, so I'm going to put him under at least I tolerate. I like him, but I don't really like care that much for him. On the other hand, then there's Jun Yo. I actually really like Jun Yo because one, he's extremely fun, and he's only been in the game for once, and I've actually really enjoyed his character throughout the entire Dynasty Warriors 9 playthrough that I've been doing and everything. So honestly, I have to put him up above, and I'm gonna put a like for him. Then there's Xiahou Yuan. Oh boy, I've been through some things with Xiahou Yuan, honestly. So I actually have to say he's probably gonna go under the I like. One, because he is such a likable character. Second, because he has had his fun moments. He's had some downfalls, but honestly, all in all, I have to say he was extremely fun, and I really do like the rivalry he had with Huang Zhong. So I'm gonna put him under I like as well. And now next we have Xiahou Dun, which honestly I have to put I love. I love this man's dedication to Cao Cao. I love that he's willing to do anything in order to do it. His design's amazing, honestly, in almost every single game. The man took an arrow to the eye and it still fought valiantly. So, all that being said, you gotta put this man under I love. I mean, he's a really cool dude. And then there's Josh Shu, who, I mean, he's extremely likable. Granted, I know he killed Dion Wei, who is a very likable person to me, but I really do enjoy Josh Shu. And he's an extremely fun character. I always found like everything about him to be fun and also extremely humorous, and both you could see a humorous side to him and also an intelligent side to him. So I really have to say I'm gonna probably put him under I love as well with. So this is probably also this is gonna be a completely different tier list because I decided to actually like think about every single one here, because I posted one on Twitter and on Discord, and the list is probably going to be completely different because one, I gave it a whole nother category, and then there's others that I just and then this is where I'm putting more thought into actually like, do I like these characters or do I not? So next is Guo Jia. Honestly, I like Guo Jia's character. I like him. I liked playing as him in every single game. I don't know why, there just was some feeling that I just didn't have a huge like for him, or no, not like love. So I'm gonna put him under the I do like him. I just don't love him. Su Shu, I mean, he's been around every single game. I don't really care much for him, though. I mean, his character is like, I guess, supposed to behave as like he's an oblivious, adorable fat man. So, honestly, he's got to be under the meh. I never found him fun with that stupid club. It fits him greatly. And design-wise, I think this is possibly his best design ever. I think I like this Dynasty Warriors 6 one as well, but that being said, regardless, I still got to put him under the meh category. Then there's Men Chong, the man of traps. So I actually have to say that as much as I do kind of like him, I do like the weapon and the moveset that he has in Dynasty Warriors 9, and I like how he's always so motivated to do all this stuff. However, I never really was super into him, so I'm going to at least put him under I tolerate here. And then we got Wang Yi. So I don't care if this is unpopular opinion. I love Wang Yi. I don't care if she's like some creepy stalker lady or anything like that. I try to go in depth with these certain characters sometimes and like try to see like how they really truly feel. And from what I always see in her dialogues, this girl is always trying to kill or at least get out of some kind of nightmare that she is always like trapped in when it came to Ma Chao. And honestly, it was so really cool to see that she was able to finally get her revenge in Sao P's new DLC, which made me love her even 10 times more, because they kind of just gave her a look of like, well, what does she do after that? And then it just shows that she's just going to be a completely loyal warrior to Wei. Granted, hypothetical, but I'm going off what the games have been doing, not like historical or any of that stuff. So, obviously, and I always say she's the vengeful waifu, so she has my heart. I love playing as her regardless of what anyone says. I found her moveset in Dynasty Warriors 8 to be the most fun. Do I think that the moveset in Dynasty Warriors 9 is not great? You're damn right. I don't like those. I wasn't really a huge fan of her using the wheels, and I really hate the Emmy piercers. I've been tolerating them more in the game, but I just don't like them. And now we come to Li Dian, who is a very likable dude and is apparently the man who can see the future with his feelings. Pretty much is what I get from him. So I actually have to say, probably going to put him under I tolerate, because even though he's been really fun to use without the play within the moveset and everything, actually, no, I'm going to put under I like. I'm going to say I like for him. Which is kind of weird because I really do like Li Dian, but for some reason, I always compare him to Yue Jin because they're like kind of a duo. And I kind of like Yue Jin more than Li Dian, so that's kind of why I'm hanging towards that. So, Sai Wenji. She turned out to be really fun in Dynasty Warriors 9. She's had a lot more screen time in the game as well compared to her other games. Like, I never even saw her in Dynasty Warriors 8 or 7. If she was in 7, I think she was. But yeah, so I have to say, honestly, regardless of how fun she became in this game, I'm looking at the overall basis, so I'm going to put her actually along with Su Shu. Or Su Tsu, excuse me. Next we got Zenji, the girl who has been around since, what, Dynasty Warriors 3, I think? I don't know if she was in 2 or not. But this girl's been around a lot, and regardless of her having her downs when it came to moveset-wise, when like in Dynasty Warriors 6 when they gave her the whip, and then Dynasty Warriors 9 when they gave her the whip again, but then made up for it in the DLC, her character is really, I really enjoy it and everything, and also gave us a lot more likability to her. because of the Sao P DLC that they just gave. So it really showed her being like a very loyal and dedicated wife and everything, which I feel at times we didn't really get to see that much. So honestly, she was one of my absolute favorites in the game for a long time, especially in the older games, so I gotta put her under the I love. Next is Sao P. Honestly, because of this DLC, I have loved him even more. I love the cruel, brutal, realistic Sao P. I love it to death. I've always loved his moveset. I still enjoy him, even though I still kind of wish he had his original weapon back, which they kind of tease with the moveset, which I'm kind of upset about. But I have to say, he's such a fun character to play with. I love his character, and even though historically he wasn't really amazing at what he's done because he had a lot of failed attempts and stuff, especially in the DLC where his character went into a little more in-depth and everything, I still have to put Sao P under I love because he's always been a favorite of mine. He's always been really fun. Not enough to be having my heart, but he's been a really fun character to me. So, who's the next one? Sao Ren, I think that is. The pictures are a little small for me. So yeah, Sao Ren, I'm probably gonna put him under meh. I kind of never really did care much about, like, I like his character. I like that he is literally a man built on defense. But I never really found, I always found the shield to be a really cool fit for him. But then at times they just still killed his weapon credibility because they kept giving him that flail and everything. So I never really got to find him super fun. So I'm just gonna put him under the meh category. And there will be 2 under the bottom ones. Don't worry, there will be. Oh, Sao Shu. All right, so incredibly loyal dude, pretty okay moveset in my opinion. Haven't really seen anything super in-depth with him, though, and that's really killed it for me. Like, he's been around a lot. He's gotten a decent amount of screen time and everything, so I've seen what he's like. But because of that, I kind of got to put him in the red there with the why are you here? That's a tough one for me, because I really want to put him under the meh, but honestly, like, I haven't really cared much for him at all, so... He was a cool addition. His biggest thing for me was probably like, oh, cool, now we can relive the Shi-Ting battle. And he'll be a big part of it, but I was still like, eh. Now we got the hero of chaos himself, Cao Cao. So I have to put him probably immediately under the I like, because he always had a fun, unique moveset, and I think in pretty much every single game aside from 9. And literally he is like, at times he is a really good guy, but he's also a really good bad guy at the same time. It's weird because he does like some things that are good and then things that are really, really questionable to that virtue of his. So I like him, but not enough to love him for that. So Dian Wei, obviously, you know his character, you know his loyalty, you know how lovable this guy is, so he immediately has to go under I love. He has to. It's criminal that you wouldn't put him under there. And I think this is the last of the Wei officers here. So we got Yu Jin. So I found him fun to be in both games, both in Dynasty Warriors 8 and in Dynasty Warriors 9. I like he always puts the men first for him, but he's also an incredibly strict dude. So I'm going to actually put him under the I like. Just because I wasn't a huge fan of the character doesn't mean I don't think he's not good at all. I think he's really, really, really fun to play with and everything. So if you haven't picked him up, at least in Dynasty Warriors 8, I definitely highly recommend doing it. I know you're going to say, well, I've played a Guan Yu or Li Dian, so I know what he's like in Dynasty Warriors 9, but at least play as him in Dynasty Warriors 8 if you haven't. Really fun character. Really enjoyable. Alright, so now we're on to Shu. Now we got the man of justice himself, Ma Chao. Alright, so this one's probably going to go under an I like. He always is, to me, I love his character. I love his very like can-do justice attitude, and he also has like a man of vengeance as well, which is kind of weird because there's like a real big hate triangle between him, Wang Yi, and Cao Cao and all that. But I have to say, I've always enjoyed Ma Chao's character in every single game, so I at least got to put him under I like. The only reason why I put him under I like and not love, he really got sidelined for me because of Zhao Yun, because I like spear characters, but Zhao Yun was always the most unique one, not in Dynasty Warriors 9, unfortunately. But I always loved putting him, I always loved playing Zhao Yun a little bit more than Ma Chao. Now for Ma Dai. So Ma Dai, I gotta say, I do enjoy the attitude of the character. I really do love that he is very, very loyal to Ma Chao and everything, and is still loyal to Shu even after Ma Chao is gone. So, regardless of that, I couldn't really enjoy him that much in Dynasty Warriors 8. I kind of enjoy him a little bit more in Dynasty Warriors 9, honestly, without that brush. So, I'm going to put him under the I tolerate category there. And then Zhang Fei. Alright, so Zhang Fei I haven't really played much with at all since... I mean, Dynasty Warriors 8, I played a little bit with him. Dynasty Warriors 9 is where I probably fell in love with his DLC weapon. If it wasn't for his DLC weapon, he'd probably still be dead to me. He's always been a rash kind of character and everything, so I was never really a huge fan of him regardless. So I'm actually going to still, regardless of how fun I find him now, he's going to be under the meh category. And now we're on to his son, Zheng Bao, who I have to say... I mean, you got to see a lot of relevance in him in Dynasty Warriors 8, which was really cool. I think it was literally right after Fawn Castle and Yi Ling. You got to see a lot more screen time between Zheng Bao and Guan Xing, which was really cool. And I do like how he, in attitude-wise, he does really pick up where his father is. But that flail sword was just atrocious to me. And even though I do find him fun to play with in Dynasty Warriors 9, I never really did care much for him. I'm going to have to put him under the why are you here category. And for those of you who do get frustrated with why is that category name a thing, I just did this in a fun way. And honestly, these are characters that I really wouldn't mind if they just didn't come back. I would be like, oh well, if they don't, they don't. So obviously, okay, we're going on to the next one, Zhao Yun. We know, if you know me, this is where we know where this is going. We're putting him right there, right up top. This man has been my absolute favorite in every single game. I haven't really played as him as much in Dynasty Warriors 9. Honestly, I've been giving Guan Yinping a lot more love in Dynasty Warriors 9. But in every other game, Zhao Yun has always been the main character for me every time. Mr. Poster Boy, I know, but I gotta put him up there because I've loved playing as him in every single game. So there you have it. And I love his character. I mean, the man went through an entire army just to get a baby. Just to get a baby. That's pretty damn crazy. But I do have to say, regardless of that, like, he's always been extremely fun to me. I loved his character. I love his... I love the might of the character and everything. He's just so much... He's so good to me. I love him. He's a precious boy. And then we have Yue Ying, who, honestly, after 5, to me, just didn't feel like much of a relevant character. I loved playing as her in 8, but... And then they gave her back the blade bow for some dumb reason. I feel like they're going to give that back as a DLC weapon, which why? Honestly, I have to put her under the meh. Only because I know what the character is like. But honestly, and I'm talking about franchise-wise. I'm not talking about how she was historically or anything like that. I have to put her under the meh category just because I never really found her to be relevant. And that's not her fault. That's kind of Koei Tecmo's fault. She's always gotten the back burner, so unfortunately I have to give it to her as well. Wei Yan. Alright. This man over here, I kind of have to put under the why are you here category. I never really was a huge fan of him, ever. I've always loved his design. I love the barbaric kind of like tone and personality that he has. But for some reason, I was just never a huge fan of him, so I gotta put him under there. Alright, so Bao Sun Young. Bao Sun Young. Do I really need to say any more? Anyway, moving on. Okay, just so you guys can get clarification here. Bao Sun Young has always just been the dumb, really annoying fangirl for Guan Suo. I hated her with the yo-yo. She's more fun in this game, but I still just can't like her. I don't care if she's got a cute face or anything. She's just annoying to me. Fa Zhang. Dude, I gotta say, Fa Zhang, especially after this DLC, this man stole my heart. He now claims that heart, dude. He is so damn villainous, so treacherous, but still fights for the side of benevolence, and that is what really, really makes this work. He makes it work, and it's so freaking good. He's so fun to play with. His character is just so lovable if you like a villainous type who still fights in the name of peace and benevolence and stuff. It's crazy. I don't know why. I love Fa Zhang. I love him. Let's move on. Let's move on. So next we got Peng Tong. And I have to say, regardless of him always having a very short story, I've always enjoyed his humor. I've always enjoyed that he is a very brilliant officer. I never really did enjoy much of him playable-wise, but I do have to say, in my opinion, he's still, even though he was around for such a short time between Chibi and, what was it called? Luo Castle, he was still really, he just seemed extremely important. He was extremely important. So, honestly, I at least have to put him under the I like category. I would put him a little bit higher, but his playability part is just what kills it for me. Oh boy, Sushu. I know I'm probably going to get some hate for this one. I could feel it, because I know Sushu is actually a pretty liked character. Honestly, to me, I never really cared much about Sushu, period. And honestly, I feel like Jinyo is an even better version of Sushu. So, I'm not going to put him under the poop category, because I do see the relevance in his character and everything, but in Dynasty Warriors 9, especially 8, if the hypotheticals weren't a thing, he was only around for one whole mission. That was it. Just one mission, and that was it. You were done. Game over. Sushu's done. And when his DLC weapon came out, I was like, ooh, not great. Even his hypothetical just felt extremely lackluster to me. It wasn't the, I guess it was just the overabundance of dialogue in his thing and everything. Like, I feel like there was a lot more dialogue than gameplay for him, and I just never really got super into the character, even with this. Because it really, even though it was Sushu's DLC, it somehow still felt like the Zhuge Liang and Liu based, like they took the spotlight from his DLC for some reason. Okay, we all know where this one needs to go. I'm sorry. Why are you here? Why is she here? There's no real reason to go in depth with her. There's really no reason. She could have stayed as an NPC. I would have been okay with that. I don't care about the cute looks and everything. I don't care what Japan says. If she's very popular, I don't like her. I don't. I just can't. I can't do it. Jiahoji, stay as NPC. You can keep your look. You look cute. Even though you're a mother, stay NPC next time. That's all I gotta say. Sorry to those of you who really like her and I accidentally just slayed her. I'm sorry. All right, next we have you. I mean, this is no-brainer. You all know me by now. I know. You know. I know. We all know. She's going up at the very top for me. I've always enjoyed playing the hell out of her. I've loved her regular movesets. I've loved her EX attacks, her Musos, her personality. I know it's a klutzy, dumb, idiotic character, but I always do like a character that always tries to better themselves and always try to make themselves stronger. And with the kind of character that she has, I really do enjoy Guan Yinping and everything, so I have to say she's got to be up there, and especially she's just adorable as hell. She's adorable as hell. I'm sorry. And she's actually had relevance as being a commander in Dynasty Warriors 9. Like, it's crazy. In certain missions, even in some of the DLCs, she was a commander. They even gave her relevance as a commander. So it looks like Koei's trying to do that, trying to give her more relevance, which I don't really feel is necessary. She's already got, I think, a pretty decent fan base as it is. But, I mean, you do you, Koei Tecmo. You do you. Next, we got Guan Xing, who I have to say probably has to go under the same category as Zheng Bao, as why are you here kind of category, because pretty much I don't really, like, he's just like such a, I don't want to be like a douche about this, but I have to say, he just seemed like a boring kind of character to me. I never really got super crazy in depth with him. Like, he just seems like so, like, emotionless at times and everything. He just doesn't emit enough emotion and all that. So I have to say, you can just, if you're gone forever, I won't miss you that much. Next we have Guan Ping, who's been around since Dynasty Warriors 5, and I actually have to say, I have actually thoroughly enjoyed Guan Ping, so this one might actually come as a surprise. So he's definitely going to go above even the I tolerate. I actually have to put him under the I like. Even though he's always been like the fanboy son of Guan Yu, who's always been preaching, I'm the son of him, I still have always really enjoyed playing as him as well. Because remember, this is also playability that I'm talking about here, which is why Guan Xing also got down so low as well. So for Guan Ping, I really enjoyed playing as him in Dynasty Warriors 5. I really loved his sword. Then they just gave him a regular great sword moveset and everything. Well, actually, no, in 6 they gave him a pike, which was dumb. And then they gave him the great sword that he has pretty much now. And he's been sharing with Xiahou Ba pretty much always, aside from Dynasty Warriors 8. But regardless, I've always liked it, and I love how he tried to defend Fawn Castle as best he could, even though he still ended up dead. But he's a son who was not afraid of death, and he's really cool. I like the character. All right, Mr. Ladies Man himself, Guan Suo. Funny enough, I actually don't mind him that much. Like, I understand that why they gave all these characters like Guan Xing, Zhang Bao, Suo, Yin Ping, for the sake of like having more characters for towards the end, like for the later Shu era. So I get it. Would these characters have been super important to me? Not really. In fact, I still think there are some other officers that are still generic, Liao Hua, that could have been playable aside from them, because some of them actually do last for a very long time. But that's just me. But I understand they're the like nephews and nieces and or sons and daughters of like Guan Yu and Zhang Fei and Liu Bei and stuff, so it makes sense. So regardless, I've always found Guan Suo to be pretty damn fun, so I actually at least gotta tolerate him. I tolerate him. I don't really... He's pretty much just your average, everyday anime boy MC. That's literally what he is. He's like a main character to some harem thing where he's just like super oblivious to women and everything like that, but he's like a still very skilled kind of warrior and stuff. So I don't know. He's got the pretty boy look and everything, so he literally is your average, everyday anime boy MC. So now Mr. God of War himself. So I have to put him under I have really thoroughly enjoyed playing as Guan Yu. I love the God of War to death. I've really enjoyed playing as him throughout almost every single game pretty much. I really started liking him around the time of Dynasty Warriors 7 as well, where he ended up just getting the Pike moveset, which I was like, all right, but I mean, it still suits him. And then he got his Dynasty Warriors 8 moveset, which is really fun. And in a way, he still sort of kept it in Dynasty Warriors 9. Granted, I know Li Dian and who the hell was the other one? Oh my god. Whoever the other one was. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like move this along as best I can so it's not too long of a video. But I always still found it to be incredibly fun. I love that strong presence he always gave to every single person and every single army. I love how they, like, Wu and Wei just had to team up on him because they know how, like, of a powerful force Guan Yu alone is. So I always really did enjoy Guan Yu. Huang Zhong, I have to say, Huang Zhong, as much as I do like his veteran personality and everything like that, and his battle at the Mount Dingjung was really cool and everything, I have to probably put him under the I tolerate, solely because I never really played as him much. I never really cared much aside from the Mount Dingjun battle. He was always just like there. So I never really cared much about him. So I never found it to be super fun either until Dynasty Warriors 9, where I actually do love his moveset. And now we have my boy Zhong Wei, who has to go up on the very top. It's probably still my absolute favorite character to play as in Dynasty Warriors 9, and one of my tops in Dynasty Warriors 8. I know I don't really show it because I don't have any of the characters that use the moveset for that weapon yet, but I've always really enjoyed it. I mean, I understand that he pretty much just drove Shu exhaustingly to the grave, pretty much. But that aside, I always loved his aspiring, like, attitude to always try to better himself with being smarter as a strategist, and always trying to do his best for Shu and everything. He was always trying to do it for the sake of Shu and all that. And he's just incredibly fun to play as. I actually really enjoyed playing as him in almost every single game as well. So then we got Liu Bei. This man went through a couple transformations from being the mustached, what was it, the Dragon Sword or something like that? That thing was incredibly fun with those charge attacks. That thing was so much fun. And then they ended up giving him the Twin Swords, which I was like, okay. And then they also made him younger, which I was like, why? But then they ended up just doing something with age progression, which, funny enough, he's the only one who has age progression. So I actually never really cared too much for Liu Bei, honestly. Even though he's been such a huge driving force in this franchise, I have to probably at least put him under I tolerate. So this one's also probably going to be a little bit surprising because, like I said, I went through a couple of these and I decided to redo what I was thinking here. So Liu Shan actually, and I actually have to say, it's weird because both his English and Japanese voice actors, I don't remember his Chinese one though, unfortunately, because I didn't do much of the Chinese stuff for Dynasty Warriors 9. those were actually really big helps to having me like Liu Shan even more, because I think every single voice actor nailed Liu Shan. Whoever played as Liu Shan in 8 and 9 nailed his character, the goofy, young, inexperienced emperor. I think he was really good, and he was actually pretty decently fun. He still is pretty decently fun as well. But I had to say, his character is actually really cool, and he does, even though he does try to keep the hopes of his father's dream of benevolence, he does also, and I'm saying this from the game, not talking about historic, so don't fight me on this, he still had his own goals in mind where he just doesn't want any bloodshed, period, which is why he ended up surrendering, and why Sima Zhao, and even Cao Pi in the DLC for Cao Pi, gave him that respect. So, even though everyone still calls him a fool, at least in the game, he's pretty damn respectable. I think so. Xing Sai was always a character that just... She was pretty much just an... what's the word I'm looking for here? Not abusive. I don't know why I'm thinking abusive. Overprotective, maybe, of Liu Shan. And she was... Like, I like her, but ever since Liu Shan officially came into the picture, she was always just like that overprotective, super annoying person to Liu Shan. Granted, it was to better him, which I completely respect, which is why I'm giving her a higher list or a higher spot on this list than I would grant it for. But for some reason, and she was always fun to me with the pitchfork or even with the sword and shield, but I still have to probably put her under the tolerate. I tolerate her just a little bit, but when she just started getting Liu Shan into the game, she kind of just ended up having like just a bit somewhat more annoying personality. So I don't know. It's just me. Do I still find her to be an amazing warrior, though? Worthy of being with Liu Shan? Absolutely. I have nothing but respect for the girl. I mean, she tolerates Liu Shan, so trust me. She's kind of in between the tolerate and like. If I had something in between those two, that's where she would probably be for me. But I never found her to be the most fun character in the game. That's just me, though. So next we have Zhu Gailiang, who is a very, I think is, from what I see at least with the fan base, is a pretty big fan favorite and everything, understandably so. This man has, he's pretty much the most brilliant mind in China, which was really helped him help Liu Bei claim a lot of victories in battles and everything, especially when it came to making the winds blow through the Battle of Chi-Bi. For some reason, though, because of his dead tone personality, and I'm not trying to crap any of the voice actors and any dub that do it, but for some reason I never really... I tolerate him, but I never really gave too much care for the man. Then we have Zhou saying, I really could care less about this character. I really couldn't. He's gotten a decent amount of screen time and everything, but that doesn't save him. I'm sorry, he's got to go in the poopy. For one, I know I said historical accuracy is not a thing. He's not really historically accurate, as some of the other characters on here, of course, aren't. But he was a character, even though they showed him a lot as a generic in the other games, which, if you go by that sense, it was a long time coming for him to be to be a playable character. But for one, I don't like his weapon, and I just never really found him to be super enjoyable as a character regardless. Then we have Da Qiao, the best older sister. So I actually have to say, I think I put her lower on the tier last time, but now I'm putting more thought into it. I actually am going to put her under the I love. I love her, super loyal wife and super, super protective, but also incredibly kind older sister to Xiao Qiao. I have to put her under the I love. I was never really a huge fan of playing as her, but I really do enjoy her character. So we'll just leave it at that. Now we have Su Shang. So some things have changed, because I will go right now and say Su Shang, before Lu Su's DLC, was possibly the most irrelevant character to me. Not because I found him to be fun to play with, sure, but I never really saw him. He never got any screen time for being a new character, and from what I've seen. Whenever I see him, he was always just a guy in the background. That's what I always saw. He never held any super huge relevance. So because of that, I forgot to mention, but because of the DLC with Lu Su, and going more in depth with Su Shang and having him get more spotlight, I'm actually going to put him under the I tolerate now, because it really did help. That DLC really, if anything, did a huge favor to Su Shang, who just did not get any to little screen time unless you played as him. But when you don't, you really just see him just like drift in the background, which is sad. I was really hyped to see him, and then they ended up making him that. But then they finally gave him a lot of respect during the DLC for Lu Su. So big thumbs up for them on that. So Gan Ning, the man who I have really enjoyed playing with in the older games. And then Dynasty Warriors 6 came around, and 7, and 8, and 9, and I just quit. So, character-wise, really cool, badass character. Awesome, cool, badass pirate. So I'm going to put him under I Tolerate, but I have never really played as him much after 5. Never. Han Dong. It's sad because they literally keep him in the background like Su Shang, and it makes sense because he's like the forgettable guy, but yeah, buddy, sorry. Yeah. I thought it was a long time coming for Han Dong to be in the game. Don't get me wrong. I really was like, oh man, it's a long time coming. And he was pretty relevant actually in 8. Then he was just left in the back burner in 9. Like, I'm like, where is he? Obviously, he's around a little bit more during the beginning of the story mode and everything, but he's been around with Wu for a long while, and for some reason, the only time you see him is when he's defending a supply depot, which isn't in every battle, so that's unfortunate for him. So next is Huang Gai, a man who's been around for, God, a long time. I think in 3 he debuted. And I have to say, 3 through 5, he was incredibly fun. Character-wise, I like him. I like the veteran personality of Huang Gai. I'm going to put him under I like solely because of Dynasty Warriors 3 through 5. So he deserves to have an I like. Now we run on to Lian Shi. I probably have to also put her under I like. I like her character. I like her design. It's really good. I'm not talking about her breasts, so back off me. Back off me. I don't care about the fan service. And I just love that she is a very super loyal chick to Sun Quan, who's another character I kind of enjoy. So we're going to put her under at least I like. Lu Xun has always been a very, very big favorite of mine. He's kind of always the one. He's an underappreciated favorite of mine, I should say. I enjoyed him ever since his debut. I loved playing as him. I love his young and very brilliant mind. So, and because he's held a lot of relevance, especially, he's actually been very relevant in 9 as well. So I gotta put him under the I love. I've always loved him. Lu Su. So especially with the DLC, and I've always loved his character, but I never really found him to be super fun with the rake. Even when Dynasty Warriors 9, even though granted I know it was the same moveset as Guan Yin Ping, who was one of my favorites, I still never really cared much about him until his DLC came around. And then I had to say, hot damn, this man definitely gets at least in the I like category, because that was really fun. And now we have Lu Meng. Lu Meng, I guess you could say, I never really gave too... I didn't really care that much for him at all. He was just another Pike user at times for me and everything, so even though he was pretty much one of the people who led up to Guan Yu's defeat and everything, which, relevance, there wasn't really much else for him in my opinion, so I kind of have to put him under... I'm going to put him under meh, honestly. Ling Tong, my boy, that man with the nunchucks who can make him work, and he is a very, very likable character, no, lovable character, should I say more. Ling Tong definitely gets an I love. Hey, Xiao Kiao. Poop. So next, Zhou Tai, obviously this man here that we definitely have to give love to. This man is the most loyal warrior you will possibly meet. I know there's probably another one in there that you could argue with, but Zhou Tai is definitely in my top 3 for favorite loyal warriors, so he has to be under the I love. His design and everything, his incredible loyalty to Sun Quan is insane. So I have to say, I love Zhou Tai. I love his moveset. I love his weapon. I love his everything. Everything about Zhou Tai is amazing. So I have to put him under I love. Not enough for me to say he has my heart, but I love him. So next, Zhou Yu. I liked him through his debut all the way to Dynasty Warriors 5. And then I ended up... I was okay with him with the staff and everything, but I really prefer him with the Elder Sword. And at 9, he just seemed like a desperate douchebag, just trying to, like... I don't know, he just seemed like an overly desperate person. Granted, I know at times he just showed because he was ill, which they didn't really go super in depth with the other games. But I don't know why. It's just something about this one just made him seem like an overly like, I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but for some reason, I'll put him under I like just because of the previous games. He doesn't seem as calm and collected as he did in the previous games. Like in this one, he's just like so over the top, like nervous and anxiety all over the place. It's insane. So I kind of miss him when he was more in Dynasty Warriors, like at least let's say 5. He was a lot less like hit with anxiety than he was in the later games. And then we got Zhu Rong, my boy, who is went through a hell of a transformation from 8 to 9. 8, I could not stand him. 9, I actually do like him a lot more. Regardless of whether he had the staff or even his new tri-staff, ended up being a very fun character. And I always liked his character-wise. Playable-wise is what really killed it for me. But I have to say, Dynasty Warriors 9 was a huge favorite of him because, whoo boy. And then the underappreciated Sun Jian. Now, I know for some of you, you're like, oh, you're going to put him so low because this man gives you issues. No, I actually adore Sun Jian. Sun Jian is probably my favorite of the Sun clan, next to Sun Ce. So actually, I'm going to put him under I love. Sun Jian was always incredibly fun to me. Regardless of how early he died and everything, I still ended up always enjoying playing with Sun Jian and reliving his story. There's something about it, always made me enjoy reliving it. Next, we move on to Sun Quan, who pretty much just always felt like a very inexperienced ruler and everything, which, granted, kind of was. But they really, really milked that for me. So I actually, for now, because of it, I'm going to put him under the I tolerate and everything. But I really feel like in the older games, he didn't have that kind of vibe to him. But in the newer games, they've really, really given him that inexperience. And it's crazy. Next, we got Sun Ce. You know where this man's got to go. Honestly, if it wasn't for his Dynasty Warriors 9, I would say he has my heart because I really, really miss those Tonfas. He really got, like, shafted in 6 and 9. I'm hoping in a DLC maybe in the future they'll bring him back, but for now, because of previous games and everything, and because his character is just so damn lovable, and he was such an amazing, and he was a really good leader and everything, you have to put this man on the top of the tier list, at least for me. Next, we have Sun Shang, who really got the shafting, like, I feel after 6. Like, she had relevance in 6, but after 6, I feel like she just became a housewife that you never see anymore. So, actually, I'm gonna put her under the meh category. I enjoyed her in previous games. It's hard to like her in other games because she's never there. Honestly. Taishit C. Man, I never cared about this character, honestly. I never gave too much love to him at all. So, honestly, like, moveset-wise, okay. Character-wise, okay. Like, he's literally just all around meh to me. And then the poetic Ding Feng himself. And I'm probably going to put him also under there as well in the meh category. Honestly, just because, even though I like his, it's not the poetic things I don't miss. It kind of feels like he did get a lot more spotlight during the later chapters and everything for Wu. But it wasn't enough for me to, like, severely like him that much. Even though he ended up becoming a pretty okay character to play as in each game, I never really got a huge love for the character, so I'm just going to leave him probably right around there. Cheng Pu, a man who is very overdue to be a playable character. And honestly, it was an incredibly fun time playing with Cheng Pu, so I got to put him there. I love his veteran-like personality. You're probably going to hear me be a broken record at times, because there's only so much you could say for 90-something characters, so bear with me on that. There's too many characters sometimes, all right? Cheng Pu is just, he has that vibe of a very, very experienced and rough character, and I love it. He is, in my opinion, he's one of the very good definitions of a warrior, and I love it to death. So I have to say, Cheng Pu is in the love category. Next, we have Wen Yang. Honestly, Mr. Sideline, I have to put you under Why Are You Here? Because you're literally, pretty much to me, like a Zhao Yun clone, kind of. It's literally because, like, he always, like, he was inspired, I believe, by Zhao Yun and everything. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong on this as well. You are more than welcome. From what I see, he was always, like, a huge, like, not fanboy, but always, like, I'm going to use that term because I can't think of the right one. He's always been kind of like a fanboy. Not a huge one, but a fanboy of, like, Zhao Yun, inspired to be someone like him. And he kind of did have that vibe of Zhao Yun, but it really just made it feel like at times. He was fun with the Javelin, but now they just killed him off with this one. His design and everything has been cool in every single game, but I can't get into him. I can't see him without seeing just like a bootleg Zhao Yun. Next we have Chang Gong. This man is super treacherous, man. Very, very treacherous strategist. I have to probably put him under I like for now. I liked him even more, I should say, not love. I liked him even more during the DLC. Not enough for me to get to the love category, but I really did like playing through his entire DLC story. I like his personality and all of that stuff. I have to say he's a really, really enjoyable character, but not enough for me to end up giving him a very big, like, not enough to put him on the other tier. Oh, Zheng Jiao, good lord. That you have gone through so many things with some insane voice actors. That's something I can at least say. It's hard to put him on anywhere aside from like Why Are You Here or Meh. I'm going to be kind to put him in Meh because he was the one who sparked this whole chaos kind of thing to happen, because it's always the first battle you always do in every single Dynasty Warrior. So it makes sense to at least put him up there to show that he does have importance, but not enough to where, I mean, he lasts literally a battle. That's it. I mean, you can't really say much else about him. I never really found him fun. His character's intriguing, but that's about it. He was literally, in my opinion, one of the very few supernaturals in this game. Or in this franchise, I should say. Next, we got Diao Chan. Honestly, the original waifu, I'm going to have to put her under I love. I really, really enjoy playing as her from the previous games through 5, and then they gave her the whip, which I still found fun. And then they started going more in depth with her story and everything. I think starting at 4. 3, you didn't really see it that much, but in 4, maybe in Extreme Legends, but I haven't played that game forever. But in 4 and beyond, they started showing her being more and more like trying to cause tension between Lu Bu and Dong Zhuo, being the huge factor there. And I really like that treacherous handmaiden persona. So I have to say, I really do like her for being very brilliant in the fact that she was able to pull off that role very, very well. So kudos to her. Who is that? Zhang Chunhua? That is indeed Zhang Chunhua. And this woman is like a very, very, very lovable, caring mother. Very fun to play with in every single game. I don't really have to go too much in depth with her. She's a very lovable character to me. I have to put her under I love. Now Yuan Shu, one of the lesser being of the Yuans. You can go under the poopy category for now because a literal old scumbag is what he is. And I haven't even touched him in Dynasty Warriors 9. I just haven't felt any allure to touch him at all. So honestly, if he stayed as a generic or maybe just as an NPC, I like his design. If he just stayed as at least as an NPC like Jia Hao Ji, I'd be okay with that. But I never really cared about him playable-wise, so he's got to just stay down there. And then we got Yuan Shu, the better of them. You know he has to be under the love category because he has, like Zheng He, he has such like an out-there personality, and he hits the noble right to the T. It's amazing. I love Yuan Shao's character so much, and he's very fun to play with in every single Dynasty Warriors, in my opinion. So I have to put him up there, and he's been around for a very long time. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 he made his debut. I'm not sure. And then we got Jia Chong, the very creepily vampire loyal warrior to Sima Zhao. And because of his loyalty and because of how fun he always was, I'm at least going to put him under the light category. Because, like I said, this man, he always did the tough things for Sima Zhao. And I love that about him. He was always like, I'll do this for you. I'm supposed to like look like the villain. You need to be the man of like, who just like helps rule the people and all that crap. So I have to say, that kind of also sounded like Zhuge Liang, but you get it's kind of like the same vibe between Zhuge Liang and Jia Chong, but Zhao Chong really did go brutal sometimes. And then we got Xiahou Ba. I like him. I ended up not really liking him in 9. I'm gonna put him under I'll put him under the meh category, only because I thoroughly enjoyed playing as him in Dynasty Warriors 7 and Dynasty Warriors 8. Didn't really care to play as him in Dynasty Warriors 9, and his whole character And I'm not trying to bash the voice actor for the English one, but he sounds so dead-toned. It just doesn't work for him. So it really just made me drop off on that. I know you could probably say, just change the Japanese stuff, but when I try to do new stories, I always go for the English stuff just so I can look away, but also like pay attention by listening as well. So that's why I do the English dub. So whenever I have to hear him, I'm like, oh, it's Shahoba, cool. And then we have Guo Huai, someone I never, ever truly cared about. He's definitely a unique kind of character, but I have to put him under the why are you here for me. I never enjoyed playing as him ever, even with the new weapon that Mang Chong and Ja Chong have. I still never really cared much to play with him, so I love his loyalty and everything, but I don't really care much for him. Who is that? Who is that trash? I'm sorry. I think you deserve to be under there. I think there should be another tier for you, sir. Why is Hua Xiong? Why is Hua Xiong playable? See, I can't even pronounce his name right because it's not good. Meng Huo. I have to say I never cared much to play as him character-wise. He's a very enjoyable character. I have to put him, solely because of that, I'm going to put him under the like, because I love his character and everything. He's a very strong yet also very humorous king, but like I said, I never really played it. I never play as him, so that's why I'm putting him under like. If I enjoyed playing as him, he'd be under the love. And now Yuanji, everyone's favorite super fan service girl. Man, I have to say, you are definitely going to go under the tolerate, because I find her to be just one of the most simplest characters to play as. From 7 through 8, just spam square, use an occasional Muso, and then, oh, you're done. That's it. That's Yuanji for you. And honestly, aside from maybe appearance-wise, I don't get why really she's that likable. That's just me. I don't know why she's that likable. I honestly don't. I'm not going to fight you on it, for those of you who do like her, but I personally just don't really care much for her. Oh boy, Lu Bu. Aside from Dynasty Warriors 9, this man has always been fun to play with. Character-wise, I mean, he's literally just a mindless meat sack who just likes to just fight strong opponents, looking for a challenge. But 9 really killed him for me, so I'm gonna actually put him under the I tolerate. I might be doing him a slight injustice because he's been fun in every other game, but I never really played much with Lu Bu regardless. I always try to play with some other characters who weren't really super OP, which is why. So that's why I'm leaving him under the tolerate. And now Ling Chi. I know some people are probably going to give me some gripes on this one. Some, I know, because she's not she's not the most likable character, I can tell from a decent amount of people, but I do have to say, me personally, I do really enjoy she still has that strength asset to her. I know some people are just like, well, she's kind of just a pussy in this version of the Koei games, but for me personally, I still like her regardless. Like, I've seen the other versions of her, because I know she had like a Dynasty Tactics version and everything, which I think people said she's way more badass in that one, which I can attest to. But regardless of that, I still found her to be incredibly enjoyable to play with, even now with her Dynasty Warriors 9 DLC with the Crosspike. The Crosspike was always a fun weapon to me, or Cross Halberd, or whatever the hell it's called. I found her to be incredibly enjoyable. So I have to put her under She Has My Heart. I have to. Even though she's like that person, like, I don't want to be alone kind of thing, which I also feel for. I do feel for. Like I said, I at times go in depth with the feelings of certain characters. Like Ling Chi, for example, she doesn't want to be alone. She's always alone, so she doesn't want to be away from her father and all that. So she decides to, I'm going to join battle with you and all that crap. I don't know. Me personally, I really love Ling Chi. She's a precious thing to me. So let's see. Why... I mean, he's been around for a hot minute, but why are you here? That's all we need to really discuss here. Why are you here? You literally never appear in anyone's story except your own, aside from the hypothetical with Dynasty Warriors 8's Wei. I remember it's in Zhu Chong when you're playing as Sao Pi, Zenji, Xiahou Dun, and Xiahou Yuan, and there's like a lot of sorcery going on, and it turns out to be Zuozi. Aside from that, you never see him. Why is he here? I'm sorry. If he had more relevance, yeah, sure. But I don't. Sima Yi. And don't take this as a bad way. He's my least favorite of the Sima clan. I like him, but his sons have just... And I know he's been around for a long time, but don't worry. He's going to be under the light category here, because he is really cool. I really liked him over Zhuge Liang a lot more, because Sima Yi has 10 times more arrogant personality than Zhuge Liang does. So that's why. And I really have enjoyed playing as Sima Yi throughout every single game. His moveset was always more enjoyable than Zhuge Liang's. He was always, in my opinion, the better Zhuge Liang. Or the better of the War Fan user. So I have to say Sima Yi is definitely the best one. So I have to put him on the at least I like, which is above Zhuge Liang. Next, we have Sima Shi. We're getting closer to the end here. It's going to be about an hour. Good lord. That just shows how long this has been. For Sima Shi, I have to say I love him. I love playing. I've always loved playing as him. I love his... He really has like his father's personality, but also is a lot more crueler, in my opinion. But I actually kind of like that. He has like that difference between him and his father. He is so much more cruel, and it really does show in Dynasty Warriors 9 through his story and everything. Like it shows that like he doesn't take shit. He's gonna do what needs to be done, and I actually kind of like that attitude for his. So that's why I'm putting him under the love. And now, in my personal opinion, I know some people will disagree with me on this one as well, because they'll probably say Sima Shi or Yi are better. But I actually have to say, just simply because I find him to be very relatable in personality and everything, I have to say Sima Zhao is very, very up there for having my heart. Sima Zhao, even though he is like the most timid of the Sima clan, he is still also like the most kind-hearted as well. Like, he is incredibly brilliant. He just lacks effort. But he's the one who also was able to conquer the land. Did Sima Yi and Sima Shi do that? No, they did not. Maybe Sima Yi could have done it if he didn't retire, but he was like, I'm done. And Sima Shi died. To an arrow. Unfortunate. But I have to say, Sima Zhao always was incredibly, incredibly fun to me to play with. And I always loved listening to his dialogue sequences because I'm like, yep, I feel you, man. I feel you. Because at times I couldn't help but feel bad for him because he was like getting so much burden and responsibility on him. But he ended up going through that with the support of Yuanji and Jia Chong, which I've got to give both respect for that. Especially Yuanji, because she was like a really big rock for him. I'm losing my voice from talking for about an hour. And then we have Xin Xiangying. I hate to do this. I really do. I have to put her under the meh category. She has no relevance so far. Like, she has screen time, but it doesn't feel like she has much relevance in her own story. Or in any story, honestly. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe if I go further into Sao P's, maybe I haven't finished it yet. But so far from what I've seen, she really doesn't have that much relevance. In my opinion. I don't know why, she just doesn't. I find her incredibly fun, but that's as far as it goes for her. That's it. Jugadon. I really could care less about this character. He's just annoying to me. He's an annoying man who just keeps saying, oh, for the better of my clan and stuff like that, or in the name of my clan. He's a really, really obnoxious character, and because of that, honestly, I didn't want to play as him just so I didn't have to listen to him. That's literally it for me. But then we have Zhong Hui, the very hot-headed douchebag with the flying swords and then the really cool multiple sword weapon. I don't know what the name is for it. I have to put him under the I love because I love playing as him. I haven't touched his DLC yet, so this is before even the DLC, so maybe he'll have my heart after this DLC. But I really, really enjoy his character. I love his freaking overly confident, cocky attitude, and I love playing with him. No matter, I don't care what anyone says. He's so much fun to me. Very fun. And then we have Zhu Rong. 4 more left. Why is Dong Ai so whatever? And then we have, Zhu Rong here. And she was probably my favorite to play out of the two between Meng Huo and Zhu Rong. And I incredibly love her in 8. I haven't really played as her yet in 9, so maybe I'll love her even more in that. I don't know yet. I know she kind of just shares the same moveset as, I think, Han Dong and Dian Wei. But I really enjoy her tough wife attitude. I love it. When the king doesn't take charge, it's the queen who does. The goddess of fire herself. I loved playing as her in so many of the games. I love her personality, her attitude. It's all good. I love it. She's really a tough-ass wife, and I love it. Now we got Dong Ai. And I'm going to put him under... I never cared about him. I can't really go into depth with him. I never play as him. I haven't even touched him yet in Dynasty Warriors 9. I touched him a little bit in 8. When he had both the weapons. The revolving crossbow was pretty cool, but I still never really cared much for him at all. So that's why I'm leaving him under there. I can't really go super in depth with him because I never really play as him. And then I know I'm going to get some crap for this one. But because of her hypothetical scenario with her story, and because I actually do enjoy her bratty, pain in the ass attitude, I have to put, and because she's incredibly fun, for me, I'm putting her up there. Fight me. Fight me. Fight me. I don't care. I don't care if she's not relevant to the storyline. I don't care. When she got her own story mode, that is what hooked me onto her. So much fun. That was one of my, it's still, to this day, one of my favorite story modes in Dynasty Warriors 9. Fight me. And then Dong Zhuo, I mean, I can't put him under Poopy because he's like the ideal villain and everything, so I'm going to put him under Meh. I never play as him. I haven't touched him. I know how he is character-wise, and he plays the villain to such a high degree, it works so well. So that's why I got to do that. Whew. All right, well, there you guys have it. There's my tier list for the Dynasty Warriors characters throughout the franchise. So I know the last one was kind of lackluster, but I would have actually rather had Dong Bai be the last one, but whatever. But all right, guys, this is it. This was an hour-long video. Good Lord. But you know what? I saw it coming because this is literally like over 90-something characters. So this doesn't surprise me that it took this long. But, yeah, but I got to say, this is probably my most... This is probably going to be under one of my most favorite videos, just solely because I got to rank up all the people. And now I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about this tier listing, as well as your own. If you want to make one, I'll put it down in the description below. And if you all did enjoy going through this hour-long video with me, be sure to hit that like button. And like I said, comment down below as well if you have any other characters that you ended up in that you should... Well, I mean, you can't give an opinion on my tier list. Like, it's just an opinion. But let me know let me know your top 5 favorite and your least 5 favorite in the comments. How about that? There we go. That's some incentive for you to comment. And if you guys are new to the channel as well, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the content on this channel. I do uploads pretty much guaranteed Monday through Friday. So guys, with all that being said, thank you all very much for watching me go through all this. And I will see you all in the next video. Farewell.